My name is Tessa, I'm 26, and one thoughtless comment cost me something I'll never get back. It wasn't dramatic or loud, just a quiet mistake that changed everything. We met by accident in a bookstore. No romantic music, no cinematic spark. Just me, distracted and clumsy, bumping into a stranger over a pile of books. He was looking for The Alchemist, the same copy I'd tucked behind the philosophy shelf, while pretending I was deep and mysterious, when in truth, I was just trying to hide from my own life. His name was Ryan. Ryan wasn't the kind of man who demanded attention. He was calm, grounded, and gentle. No arrogance, no polished charm, just an honest presence. After I helped him find a book, he offered to buy me a coffee. I said yes, thinking it was nothing. But that cup of coffee became the start of something real. He didn't have much. No shiny car, no luxury watch, no big apartment. He was a middle school art teacher with cracked glasses, worn shoes, and a heart that carried more warmth than any five-star restaurant ever could. His tiny apartment smelled like paint and cinnamon tea. And even though the walls were chipped, it felt more like home than anywhere I'd been in years. He never talked about money. He talked about his students, his mother, the sheltered dog he wanted to adopt one day. He listened more than he spoke. He noticed things, the way I bit my lip when nervous, how I always stir my coffee twice before sipping. Ryan wasn't the kind of man I usually went for. I'd always chased men who came wrapped in status and confidence, the kind who looked impressive from the outside but never really cared to know me. Ryan was different. He didn't try to dazzle me. He just showed up. We spent 4 months together. He'd cook dinner and hum badly while chopping vegetables. He'd draw little sketches of us and slip them into my bag when I wasn't looking. He'd send voice notes during his lunch break, telling me about something funny his students did. He made me feel seen, and that scared me more than I wanted to admit. Somewhere along the way, I started comparing him to others, men in suits, pictures on social media, the life I thought I should be living. I'd catch myself wondering why he didn't wear cologne that cost half his paycheck, or why we weren't dining in places that required reservations. I let that shallow part of myself start whispering that love needed luxury to be real. Then came the night I ruined it. It was my friend's birthday, loud music, flashing lights, too much wine. Ryan came because I asked him to, even though big crowds weren't his thing. He smiled politely, tried to blend in, laugh when he could. Then one of my friends joked about dating men who didn't have ambition. I laughed too, and without thinking, I leaned toward Ryan and said, "You'd be perfect if you were rich." The moment the words left my mouth, I felt his body stiffen. He turned to me, no anger, no sarcasm, just quiet disappointment that said everything. He didn't argue, didn't roll his eyes. He just went silent. By the end of the night, I tried to laugh it off, thinking he knew I was joking. But when I checked my phone later, his name was gone. His number, his social media, everything. Blocked. At first, I was furious. How could he end everything over one stupid joke? But the truth is, it wasn't about that single moment. It was about all the times I'd made him feel less than enough. The subtle looks, the careless comments, the quiet ways I told him he wasn't who I really wanted. That one line was just a final crack in something he'd been holding together on hope. I never got to apologize. Never got to tell him that I didn't mean it that way. Because even if I hadn't meant it, it's exactly how it sounded. You're not enough. He was the only man who ever made me feel safe, just being myself. He never asked me to be prettier or more successful. He loved me in my unfiltered form, and I threw that away trying to sound clever. Since him, I've dated other men, some wealthy, some charming, some polished to perfection. But none of them made me feel like Ryan did. None looked at me like I was something worth understanding. None remembered the tiny things, like how I take my tea or the name of my childhood dog after hearing it once. Sometimes I imagine bumping into him again, maybe in that same bookstore. Maybe I'd tell him I'm sorry, that I've changed, that I finally get it. But I know it wouldn't matter. He gave me something precious, his trust, and I treated it like it was disposable. He's probably somewhere out there, still drawing, still teaching, still being the kind of man who makes someone feel safe. And I'm here, left with the memory of what I lost. I let go of a good man because I mistook kindness for weakness and thought money defined worth. One careless sentence. That's all it took. And now, the silence he left behind says everything my apology never could.